Hey everybody, it's Ginger on Wheels here again. I'm back for part 2 of the series, should you buy a Wolf King GTR or a Wolf GT Pro? And today we're gonna be out riding the Wolf GTR, and I've got 6 reasons why I think you might wanna consider buying it if you consider yourself an off-road enthusiast. If you missed part 1 of the series, you can catch it in the video description, or I'll link it up in the corner now. We're gonna start with a top speed draggy test. So let's roll the intro and get started. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's fast. That'll do. It's faster than the GT Pro for sure. If you were racing a GT Pro and a GTR off the line, this thing would smoke the GT Pro. I think this just turned into 7 reasons why you would buy a GTR instead. It's faster. Reason number 1 why you would buy this GTR over the GT Pro, it is faster, as we just saw. Not only is it about 1 or 2 miles per hour faster top speed, but it's quicker off the line considerably, like 30% faster almost. This almost feels leisurely now, going 40 miles an hour. Catch my breath again. Just literally holding on for dear life. That's wild. So I read online, but then I've seen it backtracked on a couple of websites that when you double tap the throttle at full speed, the controllers will push out an extra 10 amps each, which is no joke. The connections get really hot when you're doing that, and it stresses the battery to no end. But it does only last like 10 seconds as a precautionary measure. You can double tap it again though right away, as I was just doing. All right, well that was fun, wasn't it? That was nuts. Hope you don't mind, we're gonna be running some errands again. I got some orders to drop off from PEV outlet at the post office, so we're gonna do that real quick. But while we do that, I'll talk about the original 6 reasons that I had why you might wanna buy this thing. There's a lot of cops around here, so I'm not gonna split traffic in this area. See that guy in the moped staring me down? That's much better. All right, so official reason number 1, hashtag reason number 2, why you might want to buy the GTR over the GT Pro, even though it's $800 more. It's got better suspension. There's no denying that. It does sit a lot higher off the ground, but you have about an extra inch of pillow in that front motorcycle style suspension, and then the rear suspension, instead of being 2 tiny little coils, it's actually a full-blown spring with adjustable preload and rebound damping, and it feels like it has much more travel. The suspension travel on the Wolf Warrior 11 Plus, the Wolf King, the Wolf King GT Pro, all the Mini Wolf X's, they really don't even hold a torch to the rear suspension on this thing. You can tell this is a shock meant for mountain bikes, meant for off-roading, and it feels excellent, if I do say so myself. On our turn signal around this corner, hopefully I don't forget to turn it off like I did in the GT Pro video. You can see we got a little blinky arrow on the display here. We have a green light here, and we have turn signals in the front on the bars there, and then in the back too. I forgot to turn off my Draggy app, so let's get over here and do that. All right, moving on. Reason number 3 why you would buy the GTR over the GT Pro is it's got a trigger throttle. You can see here. This is just my pointer finger pulling on a little trigger to accelerate. Since I'm not using my thumb to push the thumb throttle up and down, that means I can grip fully onto the bar with my opposable thumb, which is what separates us from most animals. Man, I hate traffic. Saturdays are the worst. Ooh, up a steep hill, don't mind if I do. No problems with that at all on this thing. Barely even struggling. All right, let's talk about reason number 4 why you would buy the GTR over the GT Pro, in my opinion. And for me, it was a monumental game changer in the off-roading situation. It's got traction control. If the front tire peels out for more than a couple milliseconds, it'll lower the amps output to the front motor so you can regain traction before giving it power again. It's like a night and day difference. If you're trying to off-road in a high speed mode on the GT Pro, the front tire is gonna be peeling out like crazy. And when you've got the front tire peeling out and you're trying to maneuver around obstacles or turn, the scooter will just slip out from underneath you. But with the traction control, we can maintain traction on the front tire, and that is huge. The traction control feature is available in all 5 speed modes, except for when you click it into the super mode. And I'll show you, it's got a little emblem on the display here. It says ESP, stands for electronic skid protection. You'll see when I go into speed mode 5, the ESP is still there, but if I click speed mode 5 again and it goes into super mode, the ESP goes away. So you do not have traction control when you're really hammering on it. All right, we're almost to the post office here, and then I'll give you the other 3 reasons why you should buy the GTR over the GT Pro. Cut into the parking lot here real quick. There is a bike rack over there, but I usually don't lock up in areas like this because I can see out the windows. Someone tries to take my scooter. A, they're gonna have a hard time, and B, I'll be able to see them doing it.
That's a pretty good vehicle.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, pretty unique.
Super high-powered scooter. It's called the Wolf King GTR. Goes 60 miles an hour.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
All right, on to the next reason why you would buy the GTR over the GT Pro. This is one more thing that just makes it easier to off-road. It's got lower deck-to-bar height. Taller bars are nice for cruising around like you've got on the GT Pro, but on the GTR we have 2 or 3 inch shorter bars, and that makes it a lot easier to tuck and weave when you're off-roading. You don't need to be standing upright, and you shouldn't be when you're off-roading. So having lower bars gives you that extra little bit of maneuverability, and it allows you to tuck down like I was doing on my top speed test without making you unstable. If your bars are way up here, it's a lot harder to ride. Get that turn signal going again. And remember to turn it off. If you're buying the Wolf GTR, you're probably an extreme off-roader like me, even though we haven't done much in this video, but we will, I promise. And having lower bars just makes it much more enjoyable to cruise around on and get aggressive with it. If you're cruising around for a long time with straight arms like this, it gets kind of old. It's nice to have bars that are more ergonomic and up tall. But if you're off-roading, if you're popping on and off curbs, if you're extremely aggressive with your scooter, the lower bars are real nice. You'll notice on the ESC racing scooters, the really weird looking ones, the bars are so short. And that's because those guys are always crouched down to the max, taking super tight corners. The next 2 things that might make you consider the GTR over the GT Pro are mainly around serviceability and general joy of ownership. The first one is that you have a swappable battery. It does have a smaller battery, which is true, but if you run out of battery, or if you want to do 2 rides in one day, maybe you're a DoorDasher or something, and you just want to get your orders there really, really quickly, you can swap the battery out instead of having to wait for it to charge all day. Granted, the battery does cost $1,300, which is not a small pile of money, but having 2 batteries is really awesome. For the first few months you own this thing, you're gonna wanna be riding it all day, every day. And if you can swing it, having 2 batteries is legit. You basically don't have to stop riding. You can ride sun up to sundown with a swappable battery. Let me show you the battery here real quick so you don't just have to imagine what I'm talking about. All right, so this is our swappable battery right here. It lives inside the deck. It has a little lock mechanism on it. You pull the battery out. It has a plug on the bottom right here, plugs into the bottom of the battery. You can just lift this one out and replace it. On the bottom of the battery here, you'll see a little button too, and it has a readout that shows you how much battery you have left. 66%, 77.8 volts. So if you've got your spare battery sitting at your house and you're not sure if it's charged or not, you don't have to plug it all the way in to find out. You just hit that button and you can say, oh, I'm fully charged, good. Plug it right in. These batteries do cost $300 more than the GT Pro batteries. As you can tell, they're better built. And even though they're smaller, having that swappable aspect is really important to a lot of people. You'll see here this scooter's got drain holes in the bottom too, so if water leaks in between the battery and the frame, the water will just pool in this smaller compartment and then drain out the little holes in the corners. The GTR that they sell now does not have this little wiggly plug. It actually has 2 prongs coming out of the bottom, and when you lay the battery down inside of it, it kind of clicks into place. That's a newer design. This is a Generation 1 Wolf GTR, which I don't think they sell anymore. Go ahead and plug that in, slide it down, and then I can turn this little lock thingy, and that kind of locks the battery into place. It was starting to rain. These gloves are much nicer for filming in. They've got little buttons, so I can push the power on my phone and stuff, and they're a lot thinner, so I have more dexterity to push buttons on the GoPro. Called One Protect, by the way. Go check out the brand if you haven't seen them already. Got little guards in here, so your wrists don't break if you crash. I like them quite a bit. We'll do some quick off-road runs and then roll home after I tell you about the 6th reason why you should buy the Wolf King GTR over the GT Pro. You don't have a stop sign. Okay, thank you. That guy got all butthurt when I told him to go because he stopped in the middle of the road. If you have the right of way, go, take it. All right, let's tuck into the trees here while I tell you about the last reason why you might consider the Wolf King GTR over the GT Pro. Ooh, it's muddy. This might not be the best idea. Let's throw it in single motor mode so I don't accidentally crash. All right, so the final reason, my final official reason anyways, why you should buy the GTR over the GT Pro, it's got a split motor design, which is very unique. I don't think I know of any other scooters with a split motor design. and it makes serviceability of the motor and tires much easier. As someone who very recently spent 3 hours replacing the tire on my GT Pro, my rear PMT went flat, so I replaced it with the stock street one. It is a monumental chore. It's really a two-person job. I've seen people chuck tires on in like 30 seconds in videos before, but I can't do that. I don't know how they do that. I have 3 metal motorcycle tire levers, and it's still just ridiculously hard. The tires barely stretch over the rim. So being able to pull the rim off the motor like that makes it a lot easier to work on. You're not tethered to the scooter. It's just one of those things that makes joy of ownership that much better. You don't have to stress out about getting a flat tire. So much mud. It's been pouring rain here for the last like 2 weeks basically, so everything's just soggy and mushy and slidey. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm scared of crashing this thing because it's my little baby. I do love getting frisky with this thing off-road though when it's dry out. It's so much fun. Riding scooters off-road is not like riding mountain bikes off-road. Your center of gravity is much higher and the tires are so much smaller. It makes it really easy to just slip out to either side when you're turning. Straight line is fun though. I went 45 off-road on my InMotion RS. That thing isn't even an off-road scooter really. It's really starting to rain, gotta take her home. The suspension, man, it is amazing compared to the GT Pro for off-roading stuff like this. And it has the same suspension as the Wolf Warrior 11 and the Wolf King, which I loved off-roading, but I feel like once you step on this pillowy machine, you're not going back. That's always fun. All right, so there is one other reason I want to talk about why you might want to buy the GTR, and it's an unofficial reason, so I'll just chuck it in here at the end of the video, because not a lot of people are going to care that much. But when you buy the GT Pro, you can choose street or off-road tires. But this Wolf King GTR comes with hybrid tires, which really are the best of both worlds. You've got grip off-road, not all the grip, but a lot of it. And they're still insanely efficient on the streets and they don't make a lot of noise. The off-road tires, the official off-road tires, sound like a freaking chainsaw coming down the street. Speed bump, nope, suspension for the win. So to finish up the video, we're gonna hit a nice little off-road section. I'll show off the traction control and we'll have some fun with it. All right, here we are in the off-road land. We turn on my headlights. We turn on my firelight bar here at the top. There we go, a little better lighting. And there we are, I'm flooring it right now. The front tire is not spinning out of control like it would on any other hyper scooter on this condition. This is very steep uphill in case you can't tell on camera. I know I got the hyper view on. Love this. That traction control is just so nice. I'm surprised there aren't more scooters with this feature, but I can see why. It's probably really expensive to implement. It's new technology and all. The front tire with the traction control on is still kind of skippy, but as soon as it realizes it's losing traction, it'll lower the power. So you still do have to be careful. It's not perfect, but it's great. It's still great. Whew, always forget how much of a workout this is, throwing these heavy scooters around. This is hybrid tires on muddy terrain, flooring it, and the tire doesn't spin out. Show me another scooter that does that. It is very heavy though, as I learned in the video where I crashed this thing off-road, even though it was dry out. You gotta be really conscious of how much speed you're taking into corners because it doesn't slow down that fast, and if you lock the tires up, it'll just slide for days. All right, you guys, that's gonna conclude my video on the reasons why I think you should buy the GTR over the GT Pro if you're an off-roader like me. There's so many added features that make this thing so much more fun to ride off-road. It's got the traction control. It accelerates mad quicker than the GT Pro does. And it's just generally more fun to ride. $800 more fun though? I don't know, I guess that much is up to you. For me, after having ridden both these scooters back to back, I filmed the GT Pro video yesterday, filmed this one today. It's almost a no-brainer. Get the GTR if you've got the extra money. If you really can't swing it, or you like just cruising on the streets, or if you're not a big off-roader, then the GT Pro is still a stupendous option, but this thing is just superb in so many more ways. I think about $800 worth of ways, but I've given you the reasons. Now it's up for you to decide. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you next time.